Hi everyone, what's brewing today? Welcome back to iMochaSIP Skills Intelligence Podcast, where we deep dive into workforce transformation, innovations in skills intelligence, innovation in talent intelligence, innovation that are happening in strategies across the globe. Today, we have the topic for the podcast, crafting the future, the art of talent management. In this episode, we'll discuss the creative and strategic aspects of developing a robust talent pipeline. This conversation will highlight innovative practices and the importance of aligning talent management with the organizational objectives. Today, we have with us Anjali Sharma. She is heading HR at Fulcrum Digital and led global L&D in the past. Over to Anjali for her to introduce herself and her work and journey in this space. So grab your coffee of mocha and let's get started. Over to you, Anjali.
Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you for having me here. I think the topic itself is something which all of us are discussing all this while. In terms of my background, I've been in industry for about 23 years or so. Been into learning and development and HR space for all this while, worked in various organizations, typically always in IT. So I have seen that evolvement which has happened during the years and currently part of Fulcrum Digital, and I'm part of HR as a fraternity as a role. Of course, learning and development, being passionate about the role and always been to this. I'm still managing the globally learning and development function for Fulcrum Digital, and love to discuss and interact with you on this platform. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Anjali, for the introduction. Anjali, before we get into the question, like L&D is a function, HR is a function which has to manage both the employee's motivation, aspiration, as well as need to meet business requirement and need to align it with the business. So, what are the basic like challenges? Because it's a two-edged sword. You need to be on the both side and like help them. So, what are the typical challenges you have faced in the career so far as a L&D head?
So I would not tell them as a challenges because I mean when like started the career from an HR perspective, the MBA specialization in HR and got came into this. I started with the recruitment and journalist role and all of that, but stuck to learning development for a larger or a longer period of career is was a simple reason because it gives a perfect balance between you know. Employee being motivated, employee looking forward for their career progressions, employee learning, and beauty of the entire this HR and learning and development role is when someone comes to you and says, "Thank you, Anjali. Because of you, I'm today what I am," and that makes your day, your life, your career, whole thing comes to at that point where yeah you achieve something in your life. So I think that's the balancing part. Business have always been supportive because we help them, we enable them, we call it, to achieve their goal faster. So productivity or be it revenues or be it, overall seat at the table helps us converting those business goal into actual. So I think I would not say that there was a challenge or per se because there a little bit of a push and pull always been part of the game. But I think it's I've always enjoyed being in this. So yeah.
So Anjali, before entrepreneurial career, I'm talking about almost couple of decades back. I was an employee at IBM, okay, and I used to learn more from interest and aspiration, okay, and many times that interest and aspiration may or may not be within the organization objective and limit set for me. So in this case, like many employees think about their career, and that career might not be the next best career for them in the organization. So in this case, how do you handle it?
In fact, I personally as well and professionally as well like those employees because then you don't have to push them for anything. They are self motivated people. We as a leaders have a larger picture and a goal in front of us. Maybe down the line people might not know, like remember those days of COBOL and mainframe and all of that, people who were coming forward and saying that Java is a new thing, or Python is a new thing, or MongoDB has come, should I learn, or I have learned it myself and I've invested my hours. We at least in my career we have always rewarded such people, and it is okay for them to learn anything and everything they want out of this because technology landscape is such huge and vast and fast changing with the pace we are not able to match, then employees, so somebody who's learning, somebody who's investing their energies and with their interest, we really like those group of people. They are our top talent. They have potential. We can, plug them in anywhere we want in different projects. So I think uh, that's I don't see that as a challenge. We prefer those kind of, population in the group.
Anjali, I must say you are a very positive HR and worked with progressive organization because, like, if you are able to think these guys are the guys who are pushing themselves for the limits, and you are utilizing great example of like turning a threat into an opportunity and leveraging it, right? Many
I
times we think that employees are going somewhere, we would like them to come back on track, but as you said, skills are changing faster than ever, and you need such guys to adopt to future. Good.
I mean, as I said that I know maybe not the part of the conversation, but since, for example, we have a platform like Udemy with us, right? And so, one of my team member whom I was sitting and taking a review of usage and everything, there was a section where he said, this guy is learning guitar from Udemy, and this guy is learning creative writing or something. This guy is a BA or whatever, not aligned with the role. So I said, that's interesting. That means my money is getting absolutely utilized, that that guy is at least going on the platform, switching it on. And so when you treat employees as a family, and I think you rightly said that I have worked with very progressive organization, and touch wood that I've been blessed to have a good set of people around me who have never questioned it. And even in situations like, when we draft the certification policy, we say, if you're doing a certification and we are, giving the whatever, we are reimbursing the whole thing, it has to be aligned with the business goals, right? But that's okay if it is also aligned with a larger, your aspiration, because you've been with us and we see you as one of our, potential employees. So I think true, all of those things work together.
So that brings me a very straight question in terms of leadership. How do you balance this creativity and strategy in talent management?
I know. Now, if you see, we are from a generation, though I'm not very old, but I would still say that, we are still, or maybe individually also, I'm very structured, very, organized in my approach. So I would say that when it comes to strategy, when it comes to, planning something, I'm still very structured. But structure come, or, give the whole direction. So we still do, the identification, what is needed. We still identify gaps. We still budget the whole exercise in a structured way. We still do calendars for a year and then months and all of that. But creativity flow in, or maybe coming in from a perspective where we have changed the way we used to do things. For example, those 2 hours of learning, or 2 days of learning, or 3 days of, programs, 8 hours each day, all have a, like, old days. Of course, COVID helped us in changing the whole thing, but people have also adapted the bite-sized learning, the learning in creative ways, gamified learning supported by the AI. We have designed AI learning path for our people. Being a digital first or AI first company, we have very innovative learning tracks, which is, for example, if you're a leader, you have a different AI learning track for you. You would be learning how a leader can cope up in this AI world and what all they should be handy with an information. That is the, learning path we have designed for them. So yes, creativity, I mean, that's the balance we constantly do.
Yeah. So Anjali, you touch base upon the AI. So one is learning AI for different job roles, and second is using innovative practices that has emerged because of AI to develop a strong talent pipeline for the business, at the same time managing employees. So
True.
anything you have this any kind of innovative practices because of AI that has come, you have implemented or tried anything there?
Absolutely. There are multiple things, Amit, came in, off late and largely in terms of, because of the changing landscape of the overall way we're looking for technology, especially the entire digitalization coming in the picture. People are working in a hybrid model and all of that. We have designed role-based learning paths. So people who are with different roles, developers would learn differently, testers will learn differently, and all of them are to engage them. They are, they can learn with their own pace and their comfort. They all can have challenges built in there, so they have level 1, level 2 badges, all of that we have done so to make it more interesting. Something which in my current organization prevalent from years together is something called ICDP, which is individual career development plans, which has not been only done for high potential, which has been, we've been doing it for everybody in the organization. And that has been done with a very much of detailing where employees sit in a piece and say, where am I? What I want to do, what are the gaps I feel, what support I need, and they discuss it with their mentors and managers. And then they come to learning and development teams if it's a certification, if it's a job role change, if it's a rotation, it's just a horizontal move or a, they look for a vertical move as well. So anything which comes to, or they want to go to from level 1 to level, like from X to Y, whatever is their, plan in their career development. And that also helps us in progression, succession, like the way you said that somebody learning themselves, they come back and they say that, this year, and that is a point of discussion during their PMSs, that, while we're doing the, those constant feedback, the manager and mentors are keeping tabs saying, so where are you right now? You said you would be doing this particular certification, or, where are you right now? So those discussion also help them handhold them in terms of not getting it left anywhere in between. So that really helps us. We also have done like, this is a very nice practice which I like, which I have not seen in a larger organization I've worked, where thousands of employees working. I think being a smaller organization currently, which is like some 1,500 odd employees across the globe, we prefer when we are designing some new, like when we have started with a product of our own, the product line which is into culinary space, we have given preference to our people like who've been passionate about different roles. We've given them as a preference to join us and as a core team member. Similarly, when we have moved to the AI world, those so cross-functional movement and roles, giving preference to people who have been preparing those skill gaps, or maybe cross-skilling, or maybe reskilling some of the stuff which is either not part of their current role. So some of those practices, helped us keeping making our people ready faster than ever.
And Anjali, like learning happens outside the flow of work through training, certification, virtual training, e-learning. But nowadays, because of AI, because of technology advancement, learning is happening in the flow of work. Okay. And you, as a L&D leader, as a talent management leader, need to find out what's happening in the flow of work and connect it for the business objectives and purposes. So any innovation or any approaches you have taken to get into what's happening in the learning in the flow of work, and what are the inferences or validation, whatever, like any strategies, anything you would like to talk here?
Absolutely. And I think we as in, learning and development and HR professionals, our first priorities, I think that's a baseline. That's no negotiable stuff, is that we have to be relevant. We have to be aligned with business goals and strategy. If not, I think the goal for that year has not been met kind. So
Yeah.
that is in baseline for all of us, and all of us follow, but making it obvious, making it natural. So I'm talking about, for example, 2021, 20, post COVID, our chairman, our CEOs, they were very clear that they want to get into the space of AI. That time, AI or machine learning was very premature. We started putting through our calendars, as you said, natural. People are attending. A lot of people told me, I am doing testing. Why I've been asked to do this? I'm doing a BA role. Why I've been, asked to do that? Or I'm a Java developer. But to make it a culture, to make it a practice, the first step is that you know what you're what is happening. You understand the terminologies, the glossaries, the way, it will change the whole world. Nobody thought that, it will change it like this, that people are not even writing a piece of email without asking ChatGPT, forget
Yeah.
about anything else. So I mean, from understanding machine learning, AI, to getting into platforms, having our own LLMs, and helping our clients with digitalization, preparing their agents, and everything happening in house. I think that was the first step. So culturally, a lot of things very naturally we try to do. One more very good thing which we have done, which in my earlier organization also we followed that practice, but again, this was extensive out here, was the internal people delivering. So we have a mandate that if you have done a certification, you have to share a knowledge. If you are an expert who have joined from the other organization and you have that interest in you, you have that zeal in you, where you love to share knowledge, people like you and me who love to talk with people and prepare a lot. So we give them the platform, that we call it internal community of all our internal people who deliver. We recognize them. Again, that's a point of discussion during their performance appraisal. They have a brownie point for this, that I have not only learned, I've not only upgraded myself, but I've also shared my knowledge with the larger population. We help them with how to deliver, we help them with what to deliver, a lot of hand holding, but that is all background work. What people see, that yes, and I strongly believe that if you have to talk about something, only knowing is not enough. You really have, because you're the other side of the
Yeah.
crowd and people might ask you something, then you're more prepared. So it is moreover preparing this strong talent pool as well in the background, people who are, so all these people we keep a close eye, that these are the people who are not only learning but also sharing. And that community is almost 10 to 12% of our organization size, which
Oh,
is a
really?
huge number. Yes, 90% of our calendar programs are run through them. A lot of vendors ask me that you don't look for generic training programs for us. I said I have so many people for generic training. Give me something niche, which
Amazing.
yes. So that's I think wonderfully work with us, especially. That also gives us a lot of liberty in terms of they are billable people. This language. They say, oh, I'm
Yeah.
busy. Oh, I have a project. Oh, I have client meeting. But if I tell you that I'm telling you now to deliver something in month of August, for example, 6 months down the line, you would definitely have a piece of time in calendar. At the same time, you'll also get time to prepare. We also have flexibility to cancel or reschedule if required, if something really, because we are not paying. It's a mutual, actually. It's a win-win kind of a thing which works for us. And the repository which we have created with recording thousands of programs, which are all reusable component. And the way you have team, we have team of people who moderate, edit, keep it a place where shared, and people are going through. And especially in case of domain knowledges, it's very difficult. People leave, people come, people go, but knowledge, I think, especially when it comes to financial or when it comes to different areas we are into, domain knowledge, keeping it handy really helped us with these reusable components. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so good to know that culture of continuous learning, culture of continuous sharing, and flexibility at the same time. So like culture is the solution. Looks like here to have this sharing and learning things.
True, true.
And Anjali, with this, when you help and align talent management with organization, so what are the typical benefits? Like this question may be answer may be helpful to other peer L&D and talent leaders. So what are the objectively benefits to the organization, and do you have some kind of care if you would like to share, which if achieved, oh, you are a rock star? Because if it's a sharing culture, I am sure it is not only within Fulcrum, but it is outside even for the fellow talent leaders.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think I mean, it's pretty much known to all of us that it helps both ways. It's mutual. We get to see good set of people, people who are our future leaders. Even the leadership and development journeys like MDPs, LDPs are aligned in a way that we would like to have these people. We are preparing our next set of leaders. The competencies we cover is also aligned in that way. So I think it's beneficial, and it works both ways. The entire cross skilling, upskilling, reskilling goes in a way that people don't feel that they've been pushed for a learning, because half of the time their people are part of the whole agenda, and they also feel belong. ICDPs also helps us a lot of retention, because people feel important. People feel that what I have asked, whether relevant or not relevant, of course my current role is my priority, but I have also been considered for a larger what company or organization look into me in terms of grow me growing with the organization. So we see a lot of retention. We see a lot of boomerang stories, Amit. People go, people leave us, people come back because they don't find that culture again. So we have fantastic boomerang stories from junior level to senior level. I was talking to an Indo before this, and then we were talking that we had this annual fest, and people joined us, and somebody came and said, "I worked here for 8 years. I left. I worked outside for about 1.5, and then I came back." So because I didn't find myself in that organization, I was lost. So I think a lot of retention, lot of mutual benefit, achieving the learning and object, development KRS quickly. In terms of our KRS, also we have aligned. We have changed the traditional way of, monitoring it. Of course, productivity remains, efficiency remains, but still, we see more from how people moved from one role to another naturally transitioned. No, we don't have to do this exercise looking at it. Another way is how they have picked up larger and broader roles. I'm doing X, I'm also doing Y because I've learned X plus Y. I'm also helping other teams. I'm also the one who, people looked for me for when they were developing something, they came to me. So I think it's both ways. I think it really worked for us.
Perfect. Anjali, now in the world, there's a skill first approach towards talent management. I guess IT industry has adopted it a bit early, right? We have been doing skill first approach, but how it enhances overall talent management strategies from hire to retire, I would say.
Okay. I know, I think this is the most talked about thing right now, the skill first thing. Though I would say that not all of us are yet there, but yes, all of us are already boarded the entire wagon in terms of what we want to look. And when we look for skill first, I think we need to give away two things, or maybe little mild over those two things. One is a traditional job roles. Of course, we can't, look for that. And of course, to a certain extent, the academic credentials, right? When we look for a skill first. And I'll give my organization example, where we look for three things, and I'll tell you the area as well. The three competencies or three things which we looked in individual. One is the capabilities. They should have the capabilities. They should have the potential, and of course the adaptability. So these three things, and I'll tell you the example. While we were preparing this whole thing, or while we were working on this whole thing of preparing our organization as an AI first organization. So from the having a chief AI officer till his everybody in his team. Of course, he's very creative, very innovative, and if Sachin would be listening to me later, we will discuss it. But I mean, we have of course worked closely with him in terms of creating or helping putting this whole team together. But he has looked for all those people, because if you see, Amit, AI, ML, or maybe these platforms, the artificial learning, machine learning, or intelligence, all of that were not there. Of course, for example, my son, he's doing his graduation in artificial intelligence as an engineering as a subject. It was never there when we used to started our career. So all this has come recently, right? So that's why skill first has become, I think, the most important thing to look for, and that helps us creating such a diverse pool of people together. We have hired people from entrepreneur background, people who have failed in their entrepreneurial journey, so that they know the struggle, they understand their resilience is on top notch kind, and then people like the gig workforce, people who have the break in the career, they know, they understand, so all of that, and that really helps having a lot of retention in the team in terms of they feel engaged. It's a different workforce altogether. So I think it's coming in, and we are also trying our hands in this space.
Yeah, yeah. So jobs are rigid, they are not transferable, while skill are transferable, right? And those are dynamic. So such a good example, like you are hiring. So many a time, like people are hiring entrepreneurs who have tried their luck, they have high resilience, and they can do miracles at times. And if you think about their job description, you won't be able to hire them because they will see you earlier.
True, true.
Yeah, good. So, Anjali, this is from my side, and it was really good to know about your real examples and how did you implement this in Fulcrum Digital and in the past. Anything you would like our audience to know which we would have missed, and you think that should be shared with the audience, typically the talent leaders?
Thank you so much. No, I think you covered it, a very interesting topic, and it was good to interact with you, Amit. But I think one word which is, or maybe I think all of us are aligned in terms of we are also coping with this pace, technology and the entire landscape changing. I mean, we are now not hiring engineers, we are hiring prompt engineers, right? So
Yeah.
the time is changing, especially. I mean, I feel lucky to be part of the organization where this thing is in the DNA. People are talking in all the sense and every sense about AI. So or the new things, and we strongly believe that that sooner we will, board in. It's easier for us to change along with the time, and all my colleagues, fellow colleagues, and the other, in the industry are also, trying to do a lot of innovative stuff through learning. Think the way we used to learn has changed. It's more of experiential learning, it's more of gamified learning, it's AI driven learning. When you're learning, somebody's prompting you that, it's okay, this time you can fail, next time you can't. This is how you can do. So you have one online mentor available for you all the time. So I think all of us are boarding or changing the way the environment and the landscape of technology is changing, and with the fast pace it's changing. Of course, a lot of tie-ups with those certification bodies also helps to make it sure that what we are doing is the right thing to do, kind. So yeah, I think.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much, Anjali, for your time.
Thank you.